So hello folks, probably looking in the distance here, not really making eye contact, I don't think, with the camera. However, it's not really that important. Today, I believe it's the 23rd of September, and the year's 2016. My name is John, and I am in the best country in the world, and it is called America, or the United States of America. I'm coming to you in a car with a car. I'm sorry. I'm coming to you in a car with camera in hand, statement for something to do with what is happening to myself, as well as so many other beautiful people, such great citizens, wonderful human beings, smart, genius level. Some, I'm talking professors, engineers, scientists, people who have worked for NASA, people who have worked at the highest levels of government. We're talking about some of the most intelligent people that I've ever even spoke to or met or heard talk. This is happening to some of them as well. Unfortunately, we're experiencing, let's just say, fortunately, we are all experiencing very similar events. All the things we're talking about are the same exact type harassment, but varying slightly, if at all, in the forms, okay, of the harassment. However, it's the harassment, period. It's has nothing to do with the way it's brought to us or how strong or what algorithm they're using, what force model they decide to put on which target of this. The problem is this: there's a system, and I have a channel here on YouTube. My name's John. I go by Jono08. I've made a lot of dumb videos about this phenomenon that we're all experiencing, which I believe today I'm going to make a statement about it, and then I will never I don't think I'm going to use the term ever again. The word gang stalking, I don't think I'm ever going to use that actual term again. When describing what I'm going through, as well as what the others that I know and I hear from, hear emails, talk to occasionally, and hear the stories of the lives ruined by the greedy people from, again, I'm not going to leave the agencies out, right? I'm just going to say the greedy people that have installed a program in our country, our beautiful, gracious, loving, amazingly capitalistic founded, wonderful land called America, that some people have now they are attempting to install a system of control with the latest technologies being tested to see how well they can control people, and what they need to do to fine-tune this, fine-tune that, to speed this up, slow that down, to make this stronger, make that weaker, and how much they can get away with. And they think, well, basically they're going to go ahead and do this forever, and they'll get away with it forever. Well, here's a problem. I got some news for you. Unfortunately, people that are involved in this organized stalking program, you don't matter. And I don't give a shit about you anymore. Because, as I've learned over the last years of this, and the research, and the whistleblowers that have come to me and found the most creative and unique ways to get me messages without hopefully them being seen in my accounts or Gmail accounts or by the eyes of the terrorists. The creative ways that I've gotten messages from people that are from certain companies that have watched my YouTube videos and say that I need to focus and get my direction in the right area, and that I could be part of putting maybe some stoppage, or at least pumping the brakes to the program, because the program right now is not going in the direction of thinking it's going to be stopped, because they do believe the technology they have is just too strong. So when somebody gets uppity and starts really getting into it, like when I started researching Booz Allen's sensor networks years ago, and I made a video about it, but right before, like a year before Edward Snowden came out and talked about he worked there, I made a video from my old channel talking about the Booz Allen Hamilton sensor net, the ubiquitous sensor network that they have, and how I met them, and the business I owned at the time. They used my company as a conduit go between for something from Pennsylvania to Ohio, and the stuff that I was hearing and learning from their consultants was stuff that I kind of just was forcing myself to forget and just not hope it ever happens, you know. But these ubiquitous, these Booz Allen, headed sensor networks that were going in all over the place on freeways and in Walmarts and on light posts and in fast food restaurants, in bathrooms, in bathrooms at McDonald's, and in places like a new Mexican restaurant that was just getting a certificate to operate, and they weren't even built yet. Places like that, they were going in and grounding sensors into the floor before the place would even be built, so it would be under the building. These people, my contract with them, and I don't speak anything. They never diverged any information, classified or non, to me. I'm merely an eavesdropping fly on the wall while I had my time with those people. Now, I didn't give a shit, because all I cared about was my business and building it, and go ahead, and I didn't even really know what a sensor was, to be honest with you. I had no idea. At that point, I didn't know they had advanced sensors, which are silicone based and going in human bodies instead of RFID chips, and taking the RFID out of the person and putting the sensor in and using them instead. But close proximity activation techniques through DARPA and others are causing tyrannical pain in people who they're doing this to. They're walking up to people and they're surrounding them in a saturated frequency that is finely tuned and keyed to that person to cause them pain and harm and control of that person. You know, if you are a person right now in America, it's very unlikely this is going to happen to you, but there's something that may. And I'm going to explain something to you about what may bring you down without you ever even knowing. There's a lot of people, and I believe Alex Jones calls them the technocrats or the globalists. These are all the same people. They're the ones who are hell-bent on bringing in a massive control system, and they're testing it out in so many ways. Now, we're going to the farthest reaches of testing, to the simplest reaches, like your cable box, your repeaters, your cell phones. A man who travels 8 miles a day from home to work and stops at Walmart and gets a burrito, and him being tested under the hot lamp sensor every day to see the slow control that's being taken over that man. Every time he walks out of his car, the beam hits him in the head, and it makes him a little bit more easy to control. Over time, they want to know how long it takes to turn that brain into mush, or an easily controlled brain. Now that's not, that may or may not be happening. Okay, I'm not gonna even tell you if that's real because I'm not here to be questioned about what I know. I know more about shit like this than most people will ever know, and I forget more every month than the average citizen that is at home right now rooting for whatever football team's playing. The average citizen that's there rooting for that team will ever know on this. And God love him because, son of a bitch, I wish I was that man again. Because I love sports too. I love every sport. And I love playing them. And I love watching them. And I love talking to my friends about them. But there's unfortunately some bigger things that we gotta worry about right now. If you're an American citizen, it's your duty. Guys, this is your duty now. You gotta get your ass off your favorite team and realize that something's happening. And I'm coming to you from the farthest reach of this shit. Okay, from the worst of the worst, from the stuff. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you guys with a with a hell of a lot of stuff, man, that is happening to people, and I know it all is true. And I don't ask you to one way or another believe me. I ask you to go with your gut. Your gut's always right. The things I'm telling you, and maybe I'm not going to tell you, and the things I am going to tell you, I'm just, if you think that I'm any way, shape, or form credible, I have been run through every single imaginable tyrannical control method that these people have, and I'm being used for that because of my abilities to speak to people, to hold rooms, my abilities to have at a young age build businesses and sell them or lose them. I've had businesses fail and I built them back up again, and I never lose faith or confidence in myself, and I've always stayed true to anything I believe in. I always stick with it. I never give up. This was all cataloged about me my whole life. They knew these things about me. They knew that I was a guy who could not be swayed. You could put 10 minions in a room all looking the same, saying the same thing over and over and over again, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all 10 of them and I'm saying no, this is the way it is. Because if I believe it, it's just never going to change. My brain will never let anything else come in if I truly firmly believe what I'm telling you. So they seen these things. They seen that I owned a small bar. I bought a bar at the age of 25. They seen that, and they seen that I took a bar. I bought a bar that I mean everybody I knew told me not to buy. They said that I was gonna fail. I was gonna lose all my money within a month, and that it would fail miserably. And I bought the bar, and I made it a success, like I knew I would, and I sold it, and that was that. So I don't think that that's appealable to the new way of thinking in America. These people who have the ability to target people don't like that in men or women. See, what's happening is they're turning men into women and women into men. They don't want free thinkers anymore. When you say that, it's like you don't really believe, it's like, oh, look at that conspiracy. No, really, this is true. They really don't. The people that are doing this, from Lockheed, Booz Allen, DOD, the people from Naval Research in the United States, our own Air Force, the people that are researching on human beings, human factors, as the DOD calls them, the ones in the rogue positions that are doing it, they don't give a flying shit about the Constitution and what we're founded on. Okay? They have now taken the systems that have been in other countries and failed, and they brought it here, and it's here now. And it's not the brown shirts. Let's put it this way: we have worse than the brown shirts. We have a network of people out there, in our country right now, right here, right now. They're not your friends and neighbors. This is being said. I want to tell targets of this program that are being stalked by people they don't know, and they're being they feel that their thoughts are being played with in their own homes without any bit of electricity flowing through their homes. Like literally, targets will flip their breaker boxes because they think that maybe it's their house in the beginning, and they're still feeling little tips and taps and shocks and movements on their body that aren't theirs, and they're like, what is this? What the hell is going on? They cannot figure out, why am I feeling like I'm being zapped, literally zapped with something. This is what's happening to one aspect of these controls, of these control methods that are being implemented by these tyrannical, global, transhuman monsters. They're monster people. They're very bad. There's nothing redeemable about them or good. They're not testing us for good purposes or good outcomes. They're testing us for their own outcomes, for their own greed, and for their own knowledge on how to take what we have, digitize it, and stick it into them. Because they don't have it. They're mainly a bunch of cowardly, girly nerds. That's all they are. They're very, very woman-like. The men from NASA that are doing this shit and targeting people, they're very, very nerdy. Oh my god. I have yet to see a non-nerd involved in this network. The network is, a mystery. Years ago, poor targets didn't even have any internet. They couldn't even communicate. And I'm not just talking about targeted individuals, because we need to be grouped with the other people being targeted, but with not such extreme methods. We're getting the extremest of extreme, guys. I'm sorry to say. Anybody who is interested in discrediting a targeted individual, go right ahead. But that targeted individual should know this. You should not give a shit about what anybody says, ever. Because you're like a million times stronger than that person discrediting you at that time. And that person is no doubt ugly, fat, or nerdy, and worth nothing. The most disgusting word in the English dictionary, in the English language, is minion. A minion means you are worth nothing. You are a absolute zero. And I don't mean to do this, because that's what they do to each other, this network of people. This global network, this infrastructure that is being built and propagated through the Department of our homeland in security, which is, oh my god, anybody with a brain knows, a total communist, Nazi-ish, tyrannical implementation of control against the American populace. Homeland Security, they are only concerned with controlling the American people and ways to figure out how to do it better. They're the biggest pussies ever. You ever see a Homeland Security executive or somebody from Homeland Security come? I can't believe how big of nerds these people are. They're just nerdy, wimpy, cowardly little, like, bowls of pudding. They're like pudding on the floor. I know I've been all over. In the beginning, this video basically is not to talk about or expose anything. It's a video to my, subscribers, and it's a video to myself, because I need to remind myself, starting today, that I have to use what God's given me. And I'm not any talent, or I don't have talents others don't, and I'm nothing special, but I do have the ability to do things like make people believe stuff that would never believe stuff. Okay? I have the ability to explain things to people and make them understand it And those are the abilities that I have not used in order to aid my fellow citizen, my fellow man, to show what's going on. Okay? Folks, the main arm of a group, you know how the Stasi in 1997 was disbanded, okay? For years before that was filtered, that network was ended, they already, the people that were higher than the maggots on the street, those people knew already that it was over. They started to see the small little things, like some of the very top smart people that were in their government stopped funding certain areas that were crucial for the Stasi to survive. So the Stasi started to be like, okay, we don't have enough money anymore to fund these hubs on streets, so we're going to close down a couple street hubs, and we're going to lower we're not going to pay these spies anymore, so we're just going to let them go. And this was the end of it, not the build up, because the build up, they thought it would never be exposed as citizens on patrol, infra guard, gang stalking, whatever you want to call it, as they think now, because the government's empowering these people to believe, these very uneducated people, to believe that they have immunity against all prosecution. And I'm here to tell you right now, I'm here to tell you guys right now, you don't. You won't. You don't. Have you guys ever heard of Nuremberg? There was a trial, okay? But after that, when there was a second wave of trials, not a second wave, but, the other trials that were never talked about. They're still not talked about, but you can look them up and read about them. You know who they were? They were against the citizens that were empowered by the government to do crimes against other citizens, like stalk them and harass them. The Nuremberg trials, the second wave of trials, were there to ensure that never happens again, and to make it a criminal offense per citizen if you go out and engage in active harassment or try to sabotage or harm another citizen for the sake of the government, and you do it, and you think you have immunity, and you don't think you're going to get in trouble, but you still go out and ruin lives. This second wave of trials set to curb that. Make sure it doesn't happen again, because that's exactly what happened at that time. The citizens were going out, banging heads, destroying lives, and these geniuses that tried them, they realized that this was going to continue over and over again, because these controllers,